best car, SUV, or truck, guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.
And an appropriately named company, I must say, located at 230 Beverly Parkway, just off of Highway 29, between Michigan Avenue and Highway 29. That's what Beverly Parkway is all about. He has joined us, he being Ivan Struckel, the owner, or one of the owners of Frontier Motors, ready, willing, and certainly more than able to take any phone inquiries from you. If you'd like to get the price of a car or a truck or an SUV that you're thinking of buying or trading or selling, whatever it is, you give us a call at 478-3116, and he will provide you with that information. So without further ado, good morning, sir.
Hey, Don. Thanks so much for the introduction. And we once again have a double format. We are live on the radio right now. This is Talk Radio, 1370 AM, the oldest talk radio station in Pensacola. And if you want to join us, if you're listening to this on talk radio, like Don said, 478-3116. That's 478-3116. I can help you with the value of your car. You also might be watching this on the cable or on satellite TV, and we are video recording this for our subscribers to get the word out there that there is a dealership in the Pensacola area that helps people with, arms people with ammunition when they go car shopping, and gives them all kinds of helpful advice on what they should expect when they go to a car dealership, and also what they should expect when they come to Frontier Motors to get that free advice. So for the next 29 minutes, we're going to be talking about a little what's going on in the car industry. We're going to talk about the type of cars that are available to the general public right now, and being used cars and new cars. We also will talk a little bit about new cars, and I've got the new car cost guides with us. And by the way, if you are not interested in purchasing a pre-owned car, a lot of times I have customers coming in, they are asking about which car is a good car, a bad car, but they've decided they want to buy a brand new car. What we can help you with at Frontier Motors is not only what to pay for that brand new car, because the Consumer's Reports, which I have a Consumer's Reports book right here, will tell you that if you want to buy an invoice from them, matter of fact, right on the back, they talk about invoice pricing, find out how much to pay for a new car with our expanded local pricing information, but they charge you $14 for an invoice report on Consumers Reports. Well, you can get that information at no charge at Frontier Motors, because I subscribe to all the invoices, my new car cost guidebooks, and these books come out on a regular basis about every 3 months. And the reason they come out so often throughout the year is because there are dealers there are manufacturers that change their prices throughout the year. And unfortunately, it's not usually down, it's usually up. So in the beginning of the year, I remember working for Pontiac in the beginning of the year, when I worked for Pontiac, sometimes they would have as many as 5 price hikes throughout the year. So you could come on our lot and you could look at one car and it would be the same equipment as the next car, and there might be as much of a difference as $500 based on the fact that one car was older, which meant that it was the lower price because there had been a price increase in the meantime. And when you look at on the dealer's lots, you're not price protected. But that's one of the information we can help you with at Frontier Motors is a new car cost guide. The other thing we can do also for you is that if you are going to buy a brand new car, and we can't talk you out of it by showing you a 2015 or 14 car with extremely low miles on it and see what the depreciation difference is, excuse me, what we can do is tell you minimally what we can do is tell you what you should be getting for the trade-in. And we try to give you some helpful hints on how to make this process happen. So if you go to that new car dealership and you're looking at I had a customer the other day looking at a Ford F-150, and the new F-150s are the new aluminum body, and they're pretty hot on the market. So I kind of let them know that you're not going to be able to walk in there and get a $3,000 discount. I'm not saying you can't negotiate, but because it's a hot item, you're not going to get a huge discount. But try to separate that transaction so you know what you're paying for the Ford, where you feel is comfortable, and then where you get a fair wholesale value for your car. Well, how do you know what that is? Easy. You stop in at Frontier Motors at 230 Beverly Parkway, or you call us at 436-8080, and we will give you an idea of what that value is. Now, when I give the value, I can give you a trade-in value on your car without seeing it. Now, obviously, I would like to see it, because if we're going to pay more money for the car, I think a lot of it has to do with unseen things. Like, for example, what does the car look like? Is it good looking or is it ugly? What does the car smell like? I know when you look at a book, the books are all the same. The books are the same whether you have a purple car with a pink interior or whether you have a white one with a tan interior. And of course, you're going to get more money for a white one with a tan interior. And folks, I'll give you a prime example of what I'm talking about with color. Yesterday, we had a customer bring us a 2014 Honda Accord. It had 9,000 miles on it. The ad, we saw the vehicle in an ad. It was a private individual that had put it. I can't remember if it was Craigslist or if it was on Auto Trader. But the customer came in, and the ad showed a picture of a white car. He brought in a dark blue car. The book values were the same, but the reality is in the used car world, a dark blue car is not going to sell as fast as a white car. And because of that, there's a difference in value. Now, it's really interesting when we talk about colors that when I look at colors in the new car cost guide, a lot of vehicles these days charge different dollar amounts for different colors. Now, I'm not sure if you folks know this or not. You know, you think a color is a color. Just pick out your color. You go buy a new car, and I'm going to look at if I can look at a Ford Escape, because the other day I was appraising a Ford Escape, and the customer had the window sticker in the vehicle, and the color was that burgundy color, and I thought that's just a normal color. They charge an extra $500 for burgundy. What the heck is up with that, right? So that color should be worth more than if it was a non-burgundy car because they charge more for it. And I see here, I don't have the Ford Escape, but I got the Ford Explorer, and I'll give you an example, folks. The bronze Fire Metallic on a Ford Explorer when you order the car brand new is a $400 option. The Ruby Red Tri-Coat Metallic, which is the burgundy I was talking about, that's a $395 option. The White Platinum, a lot of people like that White Platinum. It's almost like a pearl white, and I noticed that on a Ford Explorer, a new car dealership charges you $600 more for that color. So you can't tell me the color doesn't make a difference, but I know that when I book the car out on the in the book values, which is the NADA, which is the Black Wholesale Guidebook, which is the Edmunds, which we don't use, but you're going to get the Edmunds when you go Google used car prices, and also the Kelley Blue Book. But nowhere when they do the pricing do they ask you the color of the car. And I'm getting at, I'm making a short story real long by telling you that it's hard to give you a price on a vehicle by just using the book values, because if it's a good color, I'll pay more. If it's a bad color, I'll pay less. Let's think about what's a bad color. I'll just give you an example. There is a Nissan Murano they made back in 2005 that's an orange color. And in that orange color, they put a bronze-colored interior in the car. That color was pretty much sale-proof. There was a difference of almost $2,000 in the value of that car versus a different color. And the book doesn't compensate at all. So the customer was trying to sell that car, said, well, I want this much money for it because that's what the book says. But the book doesn't tell you that that color doesn't sell. So think about it when you're buying a brand new car. And if you don't know which color is a good color or a bad color, call me at Frontier Motors, and I'll tell you which is a good color and a bad color. Now, these are little things that I'm talking about. There's so many things we can do at Frontier Motors to help you make sure that you get a good deal no matter where you go. One of the things that we can do for you is a free Carfax report. If you're going to be buying a used car somewhere, folks, take me up on this. A Carfax report costs $39.95 plus taxes, so it's about $43 for Carfax report. We pay one fee. I can run as many as I want, so I'm going to help you make sure you get a good deal. And yesterday, a customer called us on the phone. He says, we got a 2001 Chevy Duramax diesel for sale with 70,000 miles. Now, put this back in your mind. It's a 2001, which means the vehicle is 14 years old. It's a Duramax, which is a phenomenal diesel engine that they came out with. I can't remember when. I think 2000 was the first year of the Duramax, but a phenomenal diesel motor, very good diesel motor. And then they started putting the Allison transmissions in it. This vehicle's only got 70,000 miles on it, and the customer called to ask us if we'd be interested in the car. So the sales manager asked me, would we be interested in this truck? I said, of course we would. It's a Duramax engine. Heck yeah, with 70,000 miles on it. Bring it down. Well, before I brought it down, we always try to do a little bit more research on it. So what we did was we got the ID number, and the first thing that we did was run the Carfax report. The Carfax report showed that 11 years ago, it had 79,000 miles on it, and since then, it had up to 280,000 miles on the vehicle. So we called the customer back and said, we can't buy the vehicle. He says, why not? I said, because it's got 280,000 miles on it. He says, no, it doesn't. It's got 70,000 miles on it. He said, I just bought it on eBay. He actually said that eBay sold it to me. I said, well, I don't want to argue with you, but eBay doesn't sell cars. eBay just lists cars. The person that owned the vehicle is the one that sold to you, and that is fraud. Misrepresenting the mileage on the vehicle is fraud. I know a dealership can't get away with it. Matter of fact, they get so harsh on dealerships. It used to be a fine. They slap you on the wrist. This is 30 years ago when I got in the car business. They'd slap you on the wrist and give you a $10,000 fine. Now they just pull your dealer's license and don't let you do business anymore. So it's a big situation. And you know what he didn't do? He didn't call Frontier Motors and run a Carfax, because then he would have known that it had been in a service, and they had a detailed, itemized list every time they went into service on that car. That gentleman that owned that car went to the Chevrolet garage, and that goes on the Carfax. So he had about 15 times that the vehicle had 100,000, then had 120, then 130, all the way up to 200 and some thousand miles. So the guy got completely scammed by buying a vehicle over the internet. I don't do that. And I'm a professional. I should be able to buy a vehicle over the internet. I have my buyers actually go to the auctions, even though I find them on the internet. I don't buy them on the internet. And I'm always surprised how many people say, oh, yeah, I bought one on eBay. I bought one this or this. I flew up to Chicago. I bought 3 cars in my time over the internet without seeing them. Every time I got the car, I was disappointed. So I'm done. I don't do that anymore. I don't even use eBay anymore. eBay is a good place to advertise a car. It's really not a good place to put the hammer down and say, I'll take it, by hit that click, I buy it now button. You know, we don't do that. I don't even advertise on eBay because the cost for a dealer costs $55 to place one ad, and it only runs for 7 days, and then it's expired. So not a good place to go, but a good kind of a place to go to shop for cars. I would recommend AutoTrader, Cars.com. If you want to buy locally some of the lesser expensive cars, Craigslist is not a bad idea, but you're only going to get the vehicles in that particular area. So if you're looking on Craigslist, Pensacola, you're not going to find anything in Atlanta or Tampa, whatever. They don't have a nationwide site, which makes it a little bit more difficult. Of course, people like advertising on it because it's free. I always get a little bit nervous when we talk about putting your car on the website, because then you're going to have people coming over your house. Normally it's at night or on weekends when they're not working. I'm not sure if you really want people to come to your house and not test drive your car and maybe not come back with it. How would you like that to happen? Go on a test drive and your car's gone. That would be embarrassing. And it's happened before. Frontier Motors is the alternative to new. So if you're thinking about buying a used car, now we also, and I want to get the word out there also, we have a lot of cars that are like brand new. I've got over 150 vehicles on the lot that are less than, let's say, 20,000 miles. That's a lot of vehicles. And I also have about 150 vehicles on the lot that are lesser expensive that we take on trade-ins on those other 150. So we have about 100 and some vehicle that have very low miles on it. So the depreciation is what everybody wonders about. Well, how much does a car really lose in the first 1 or 2 or 3 years? And folks, it's still mind-boggling to me, and I do this for a living. And I'll use the most extreme example that I have as far as depreciation. We have a 750 BMW Li, and the gentleman had the window sticker in the glove box, so I made a copy of it. And the window sticker, when they bought the vehicle, was $100,230. So it's a pretty expensive BMW 750 Li. The car right now has 28,000 miles on it. I can sell the car for $39,900. Think of that. 28,000 miles on it. The customer paid 28,000 miles ago, paid $100,000 for the car. I can sell it for $39,900. We have a Ford Escape, titanium, 8,000 miles on it. The window sticker, we have the window sticker for this Ford vehicle of $31,500, and the vehicle is for sale for $22,900. So I'm going to round it off, let's say $9,000 less. It's got 8,000 miles on it. I think I'm making my point that if you're going to buy a brand new car, you're throwing a lot of money away. You're throwing a lot of money away that you could save for your kids' college education, that you could put down, you could give it to the needy, you could donate it. Because if I can save you $5,000 on a car that's got 6,000 or 8,000 miles on it, I think that's a lot of money. A lot of times, it's more of a savings than that. It's a 7,000, 8,000. The more expensive the car, the more you're going to save in the first 6 months of depreciation. Because the percentage basis, if they drop 30% in the first year, obviously 30% of $100,000 is a lot of money versus if you're looking at a $20,000 car. So keep that in the back of your mind as far as if you're going to go car shopping. And again, if you and I usually have this happen from the women. I don't know why women are skeptical. I guess because car salespeople, car dealerships and salespeople have made their own bed by being probably having the worst reputation of any vocation out there. I think attorneys are down there, but I think car dealers are even less than that because they're always thinking, if I've got a car on the lot with 6,000 miles on, the first thing the woman says, well, what's wrong with it? I'm like, why would something be wrong with it? Well, why would somebody get rid of a car with 6,000 miles on it? I said, I really don't know. All I know is that I'm going to guarantee the car to you, that the car has got a clean history report. It's never been in an accident. It's not smoked in. It's never been painted on. As a remainder of the factory warranty, for example, if the car is 3 months old and has a 48-month warranty, you still have 45 months left on the warranty, which is, I'm not even going to say it's transferable. You don't need to transfer it. It goes with the vehicle. You can take the vehicle and get it inspected. In other words, put it on a rack, pay somebody $100, like Bobby Likas does a great inspection for $100, where he'll put the vehicle on the rack, make sure the vehicle doesn't have any undercarriage damage or anything like that. So we guarantee him against what they call gray market. Gray market means that it's not a lemon law buyback. It's got the original odometer. It's not a odometer discrepancy. It's never been used as a police vehicle or a taxi cab, which has to be disclosed. These are all things that are gray market vehicles. It's never been in a flood. It's never been totaled. And we guarantee it. And also the Carfax guarantees it. So if they tell you it's a clean Carfax report, you'll actually have them to back that up as far as money. And of course, you're going to have Frontier Motors to back it up. So they're very skeptical. But when I show somebody they can save $7,000, and what you could do with that money, if you're going to take a 72-month loan or a 60-month loan, just imagine if you took $7,000 and invested for 72 months. With the way the stock market's going right now, you might end up having $9,000 or $10,000 in 72 months, maybe even more. Somebody told me a long time ago that the rule of thumb is that if whatever you invest in the stock market doubles within 7 years. I'm not sure if that's true or not. I'm sure I've got some financial planners that are probably listening to that show that probably could call in and tell me if that's true or not. And it's 478-3116. That's 478-3116. But if you saved you $7,000 and you put it away, let me know what that grows to within 7 years over the average lifespan of investing that money in a decent portfolio. Because to me, that's what we really thrive on as far as saving people money. Now, if your neighbor has a car for sale, call us up at the dealership. Give us the ID number, the equipment. And when I plug it into my system, we have a system called Dealer Track. I plug the ID number and it comes back, and it's got some cool features that my Dealer Track program has that I can share with you when you're looking at buying a car from a private individual. The first thing it's going to do is give me the history report, which we talked about already. Has it been in the service shop? Has it had anything? Has it had a new motor put in? All these things show up on the history report. Has it been in an accident? Is it flood damage? All these things will show up in the history report. The second thing it'll do is it'll tell me how many vehicles like that are for sale in our area. My program defaults to 150 miles, but if nothing for sale, if you got a weird car, I can go to 500 miles. I can go nationwide. It'll tell me everything that's for sale like that to get an idea what's the competition like. So if you're going to buy your neighbor's car and he's selling it for $20,000, well, if I can see there's a bunch of them out there for $28,000 and $29,000, that's probably a pretty good deal. But if I see a bunch of them for sale for $15,000, that's probably not a good deal, no matter what the books are. The other thing it tells me is what they're going for at the auction. Now, the reason this is important, if I can see, we have what's called the Manheim Market Report. That's the Manheim Auction, which is the largest auction chain in the world. And we happen to be lucky enough to have one here in Pensacola. But the Manheim Market Report compiles all the data from all their auctions. I think the last time that I counted, they had 103 auctions in the nation. And for example, I pulled up a Nissan Sentra and tells me that in our area alone, 16 have sold at the Manheim auctions, and the average wholesale value was $14,700, and the clean wholesale value was $15,800. So if I know they're going for $14,700, I can better help you when you are going to price that car or buy it somewhere, that if you're going to pay $20,000, that's too much. Because if they're going at the auction for, let's round up to $15,000, you should be able to buy the car for $16,700, maybe $17,500, and give the dealer a profit. So if they're asking $20,000, which is what the retail is, you're paying too much. So these are all things that pops up instantly when you get me the ID number. And we have so many people call. I would say the dealership at Frontier Motors probably gets 10 calls a day from customers that run the history reports and ask us what they should pay. And normally it's from customers that are buying from private individuals, not from other dealerships. But we can also do this if you're going to buy from another dealership. And we're not going to kink their deal. If the deal is a good deal, we're going to tell you. If it's a bad deal, we're going to tell you. And we're going to show you how we come up with those figures. It's not just me pulling a figure out of my hat and say, "Oh, that's an awful deal. You should drop that dealership and come over here and buy from me." That's not what it is. The reason we do this, folks, is to give you advice. So you can go back to the dealer of your choice, and if I tell you not to pay, using Nissan Sentra as an example, if I tell you not to pay more than $17,000 for this car, if the dealer is asking $18,500, you can tell them, "Hey, Frontier Motors said not to pay more than 17. And if you don't come down to 17, they'll go and buy me a car just like the one you have, and they'll sell it to me for 17. Now, what does that do? It's going to get you a better deal, because the dealership had better come down to 17, and if they don't, come to me and we will locate that car for you. With between 20 and 25,000 cars available to Frontier Motors every week to the auctions that we attend, which there's between 12 and 14 auctions in our area, and I've got buyers at most of them, I pretty much can find you just about anything you want. And the way we do this, folks, is kind of cool. You don't sign anything. You don't give us any money. You just tell us, "This is the car I want. We've already told you how much it's going to be, 17. If you've got a trade-in, we're going to appraise your trade and tell you what we can give you for that, so there's no surprises when we get you the car. And then when we get the car, we put it in our delivery row. You come and get it, and you can drive it and go get it inspected." All this without any money exchange, just a handshake and your word that you'll buy the car if it passes inspection. And that's your inspection, not our inspection. So it kind of is a cool way to order a used car without feeling obligated to buy it because you're not sure if it's going to pass inspection or not. Now, that's the only reason. If we're going to do a locate for you, of course, we want to make sure you've driven the car and that you like that car and that that's the car you want. And we probably have, I would say, 50 to 55 locates right now where customers, and we have a little sheet that we fill out. You don't have to sign it, but it's a sheet that we fill out to make sure that we know the color of the exterior, the color of the interior, the must-have list of equipment, and we give you the price before we get it. So we hate to go buy the car for you and then find out that it's more money than what you want to spend. So we answer all those things. Consumers Reports, I read this thing from cover to cover every time it comes out, and they just came out with a new one. This is a guide for 2015, and they got a cool little article in here about how to buy a car from a car dealership, and I think they're talking mostly a new car dealership, but I think it would also pertain to a used car dealership. And they're talking about what do you do after the test drive, and how do you make a decision whether you should buy from that particular dealer or not. And folks, the reason I'm going to read off of the Consumer Reports, because I've been preaching this for years. I think there's two phases that you go through when you buy a car from a car dealership. One of them is the car itself and the money part of the car. The second is the dealership and do you like them. And I always say that if you're going to spend $20,000 on a car, why would you spend it with somebody you don't like or a dealer that you don't feel comfortable with? And that's one of the things they talk about here. Use the test drive checklist on this page to help organize your notes. They actually give you a test drive checklist, which I kind of think that's pretty cool. And it says that how you're treated during your first visit to the dealership may tell you a lot about any future relationship with that dealer. So make sure you're comfortable with the atmosphere and also the test drive experience. So talk about the test drive. They say, unfortunately, there are exceptions to every rule, so we've included some helpful questions that you should ask yourself when deciding where you're going to buy your next dealership, your next car. Number one, was the salesperson responsive to your question? Did he answer the questions to your satisfaction? Were you treated with respect, or were you talked down to? You know, there's nothing more frustrating than if you're a female, you go to a dealership and the guy tells you, "Well, when you're ready, bring your husband back and we'll do business." Boom, that kills its sale every time. Or vice versa, if you're a man and you have to check with your wife. Boy, there's a lot of people making a decision. And that's also true if there's a young person that comes in. I've seen people come in that are 16 years old, but I tell you what, we treat people that are 16 the same as if they're 80. It doesn't matter because we know they're all going to buy a car sooner or later. Did you get all the information you needed? Did you get honest answers? If you find a dealer lying to you, walk out immediately because they're going to keep lying. At least that's what my mom always told me. My mom always says, once a liar, always a liar. Was it easy to arrange a test drive? Were there any high-pressure tactics used in your first encounter? High-pressure tactic turns the customers off just like that. That's the nice thing about Frontier Motors. We're the first ones to tell you that we want to sell you a car when you want to buy one. If you're not ready, tell us you're not ready. I want to think about it. There's only a couple of reasons you want to think about it. Number one, you want to make sure that that's the car you want by looking at other cars. Number two, you want to shop around to see if the money that we told you it's going to run is going to be the right money or not. So you want to, so the think about it normally as one of those two things. It's either the car or the money. Now we can put you at ease with the money because I have that program I talked to you about, which is called Price Driver, which tells me every car the competition has, so I can share that information for you. And I better be right to make sure that when my car, if it's not the least expensive one, it better have the least amount of miles. Now we talked about the Ford Escape Titanium. With 8,000 miles on it. Folks, I did the price driver on that. There was only 5 titaniums available with 150 miles. We had the least expensive one and the lowest mile one. They were all selling for about $25,000. Now, this, again, is an extreme. They're selling for $24,900 with miles in the 20s. Ours was for sale for $22,900 with 8,000 miles on it. So a pretty big difference. Were you invited back for more test drives? If you didn't like the answers to the questions, and if the dealership would not give you a price in writing, they tell you to walk out. I've been harping on that for 19 years now, Frontier Motors. If the dealer doesn't give you a bottom line price in writing, come to Frontier Motors. We have a worksheet that we use. As a matter of fact, our salespeople will come in on a little business card and say, the customer wants to know your bottom line price. So I don't take the business card and write it on there. I get a worksheet out. And I write down the car you're looking at, the asking price, the discount, the bottom line price. I add the taxes, the doc fee, the taxes, the title, the tag, everything that there is extra, and I circle the bottom line, and I make a copy of that for you so you can go to the next dealership and compare it. Now, you don't have to whip it out and show it to them, but what you can do is you can ask them for their best price on a similar car, compare apples to apples, and let's see what they do. If they won't give you a price, I always say they're trying to hide something. Don't make it easy for them. Make them work for it. Tell them, I want your bottom line price in writing, and then compare it. If Frontier Motors wins, you come on back to go to Frontier Motors. If we lose, we want you to call us and let us know, because I want to make sure it doesn't happen again. Frontier Motors, we've only got a couple of minutes left, folks, and Frontier Motors has been in business for 19 years now. We're at 230 Beverly Parkway. We are the home of what we call low overhead because we are outside of Car City. We save thousands and thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars by not being in Car City, and because of that, we can sell our cars a little bit less because we don't have the high overhead. We always also have a great website. If you just Google Frontier Motors, we're the first one that shows up. You can also go to Facebook, and you can like us on Facebook. We keep our Facebook updated, and when we get a cool vehicle in, like we just got an SSR in, we just got that BMW 750 in. You can also subscribe to YouTube, and we have this show actually is on YouTube, and we also have our videos of our cars on YouTube. So if you're listening to this on the radio right now, you can just go to YouTube, type in Frontier Motors, and you're going to be able to watch this show again if there's any information that maybe you need that you've missed. We do need to buy cars. We have 298 cars in inventory. We'd like to be at about 350. So if you've got a car for sale, we can make it real easy for you. You can call us to bring the car into Frontier Motors. Within a matter of minutes, we can give you what we call a buy bid. In other words, that's how much we'll write the check for. If you got the title in your back pocket, bring it with you. We'll write you a check. You give us the title, away you go, get yourself a ride, and you don't have to put that car on Facebook, on Craigslist, or put it on AutoTrader or Cars.com. Frontier Motors, again, 230 Beverly Parkway. The phone number is 436-8080. Thanks for listening, and thanks for watching. Have a great day. Auf Wiedersehen.
Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead. Frontier.